Is it avocado are acceptable for being optimal? The answer is no. There is the short answer, but it's not like really harmful or whatever it is. It is because the the vitamin E and also like being transported by other fats in avocado. It is because in avocado they are dominant in MUFA, which basically monounsaturated fatty acids, and the rest is like PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acids. So basically, avocado is like dominantly is MUFA, and which basically is much stable than is much stable when oxidized compared to the PUFA. And of course, but still, they are like easily oxidized, especially like avocado oil. You know the thing is, avocado oil and the difference of avocado oil and also like avocado and the actual avocado fruits is they are not the same amount of like the theorem content and also like the how the prone lipid peroxidation. It is because the processing the extracted oil from avocado to become like oil literally raise the deuterium, raise make it like prone to lipid peroxidation. Back to the topic, which basically the PUFA in the avocado, which basically will be shielded due to the vitamin E and also like being transported by other fats. It is because vitamin E will like protect PUFA for being oxidized. It is because PUFA was like two double bond, which basically they are very sensitive to the heat, air, and oxygen, which basically when they're like exposed to the even though it's really like low heat. For example, you are like cooking with avocado oil, with olive oil, even though it's like cold press. But the thing is, they are like still have a double bond, especially like seed oil, vegetable oil, like canola oils, flax oil, fla- like corn oil, which basically they really like high in PUFA and really sensitive to the heat. They are double bonded. They are very like prone to lipid peroxidation, really easily oxidized. And we are like when our body consuming a lot of like oxidized oil, it can cause like oxidative stress, which basically chronic inflammation and also like lipid peroxidation and also DNA damage, really damaging. And also even though avocado is like they're high in mufa, low in pufa, but the thing is it doesn't have like essential nutrients. It's just like some fruits, some trace minerals, but the thing is not like very nutritious compared to the ruminant animals. And the thing is you don't want to consuming a lot of like avocado. It is because they're not like very high but bit high of linoleic acids, which basically can integrate in your cell membrane, which basically can easily oxidize by the sun. That's why you have a skin issue like acne or whatever it is, or you can like easily sunburn. It is because, as I talked earlier, the PUFA, the linoleic acids was double bond, and they're like sensitive to the heat. They can like so fragile. They're like so easily oxidized. So I mean, if you want to consuming like avocado here and then, it's like absolutely fine. But the thing is, you have to think that it's not optimal. It is because it's deficient in micronutrients. The 26 compounds that are essential or beneficial, which basically like vitamin A, D3, K2, EPA, DHA, choline, cholesterol, the active of B6, methylated B12, carnosine, creatine, taurine, some and so on. Conjugated linoleic acids, a lot more, which basically can only be found in animals' product. And if you can be found some of the nutrients, for example, like iodine, iron, the thing is they must be converted. For example, it's like carrots. Carrots are vitamin A, but it's not a retinol form. It must be converted to into it must be converted to retinol form, which basically carrot has a beta carotene. But the thing is, our body doesn't need beta carotene. Our body needs a retinol, which must be converted. And half of the population in this world was like low converter of like beta carotene to retinol. So beef is the way to get all the essential nutrients you need, all the nutrients our body needs. Like B12, our brain needs a lot of like B12, and it only found in animals' product. And other than that, if you like consuming a lot of like avocado, like really crazy amount, because there are people out there that thinking avocado is really healthy, optimal, and they having like very high of like avocado in their diet, which basically, as I talked earlier, is high in PUFA. And PUFA can significant quantities of PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acids, can suppress your thyroid function, can suppress your hormone like testosterone, and also suppress your metabolic rate. It is because our genes, our body are not adapted to eating very high amount of PUFA, especially like seed oil, which basically has a like 70% of PUFA, very very high, like very chronically damaging to our body. Compared to our body adapted to, which basically grass-fed beef have like 2% of PUFA, linoleic acids, and grain fat have like 4%. Can you imagine like 4%, which basically our body adapted to it, which basically really optimal for our body health, compared to the seed oil, which basically have a 70%. How damaging it is, how DNA damage, how integrated our cell membrane easily oxidized. That's why a lot of people like sensitive to the sun. They very like easily get sunburn. It is because their skin are made of linoleic acids, which basically they consuming a lot of like vegetable oil, seed oil, including if you like consuming avocado oil, olive oil, which don't get me wrong, this like fruit oil are much better than seed oil. Like for example, seed oil is like canola oil, corn oil, peanut oil. They're much better, but the thing is they're still high in PUFA compared we are adapted to, which basically in high amount it's like suppress your thyroid function and so on, right? And also it will lead to, and significant quantities of PUFA, it will lead to 4-HNE. 4-HNE is a toxic chemicals byproduct of aldehydes, which basically is the oxidations of omega-6 fatty acids, which can cause like oxidative stress in our body. So there's no reason for doing that. I mean, that's it. Having an avocado here and then is absolutely fine. Make sure, if you are like, ideally, if you want to, maybe you don't want to eat only eating ruminant animals for rest of your life. Maybe you want to enjoy some of the fruits, low carbohydrate, low fructose. Yes, ideally, if you want to eat avocado, spend outside, get some sun exposure. It is because the infrared, the sun, which basically sun has the infrared, which red light, can penetrate in your skin. So it will make the smoother. The problem with why I say to eat outdoor, if you are like having a fruit or having like in general, right? If you are like having a banana, not banana, like like watermelon, mangoes, something like that. You want to consuming like low amount, it's fine, but consuming during the summer, this because when you're like going outside, you get the sun exposure. The problem with like avocado and also like other fruits like mangoes, rambutans, something like that, they're very high in deuterium, and the problem with deuterium is like the heavy water. They're very high in the heaviness of the water can slow down the nanometer of your mitochondria, which basically kind of like stuttering, which basically making like lag, to make you easily understand, which basically is not like sufficient to produce ATP. So basically, if you want to consuming like fruits, yeah, consuming in the during the summer where basically there's a sun out there, which basically you get outside, you get the sun exposure. So basically, the sun penetrate in your skin to basically to make it the nanometer of your mitochondria smooth again. It is because the infrared effect. You can do your own research about this. I mean, that's it. Avocado is not optimal, but having a here and then, especially like Loma during the summer, is absolutely fine. You have like 80% of your diet should be like ruminant animals, flesh and fat. I mean, that's it. It is because it has every single nutrients you need, and also there's no toxin, plant toxin like spinach, for example, like oxalates, which can cause like kidney stone, thyroid issue, autoimmune disease. I mean, that's it. Peace. If your goal is to being attractive, it's literally you have to being healthy first. It is because you want to fix your skin issues, you want to fix your body fat. It just all relies on the diet mostly. And it is because if you have a lot of problems, for example, is you want to trying to eat carnivore diet, but the thing is your parents like against you. They say cholesterol is really bad. They say that saturated is really bad. Even though there's a new study that shows that it's really crucial and it is essential and there's no problem in high amount. So all the problems I will solve there, and all my nutrition guide I will support you. Link the description below where I have a guide that teach you all the knowledge you need and also solve all the problems which basically that hinder your goals to achieve the to being optimally healthy in the diet. So link in the description below.